Welcome to the spring session for the Midlands Health and Wellbeing Network. My name is Becky Vine. I'm the Programme Manager for the Midlands Finance Academy. First up is to send apologies from Ellie Pitchford, who's our Chair of the network. You may have seen my email this morning, but she is not well, not able to join us today. But she said, please make sure you go ahead because I feel like this is really needed for people. And yeah, just sends her apologies that she can't be with us today. So I'm going to attempt to chair and do some admin stuff in the background. So do bear with me, but I've got my favourite mug which says, you got this. So I'm sure that's going to help them. Before we get going, a couple of bits of housekeeping. I am recording this session. We usually share them on the NHS Finance website, so just to make you aware. We will also share slides from our speakers today on the website if they're happy for us to. We will take questions from you throughout the presentations today. So just the usual way, either type them in the chat or use the raise your hand function, and we'll pause after each presentation for any questions or comments. And then in terms of the photo competition, which I'm going to come on to in a minute, the way that we're going to do the voting for this is on a MS Forms. So I will pop the link in the chat to the form, and you just click on that link and then vote for your favourite picture and submit that. You don't have to do it straight away when I share the link. You can do it anytime during the session, but I will close the voting at about 1:45. And in terms of how we need to wrap up today, we're due to finish at 2:30. And our last session is a guy called James, who is doing a desk yoga and mindfulness. He is due to run his session until 2:30. So I think what I'm going to do, because I personally have quite a hard stop at 2:30 to run out the door for the school run. So what I'm going to do is close the voting for the photo competition at 1:45, and then before James does his session, I'll do the announcement of the winner then. And then we'll run James' session, which will kind of close the day. So we'll finish off with the desk yoga and mindfulness. So I'll do the announcement of the winner just before James gets going. And then last housekeeping point is that we'll have a feedback form for today as well. So you can just let us know what you thought of the session and any suggestions for the future, and also if you might be interested in sharing anything at our next session, which is our summer session on the 22nd of July. So that is on MS Forms as well, and I'll drop that link into the chat at the end of today's session. I'll also send out on email afterwards. So hopefully that all made sense. And then the Lindsay only stay till 2. Yeah, that's fine, Lindsay, thanks. So the next thing on the agenda is the photo competition. So the theme was spring and/or new beginnings. And hopefully you might have seen the pictures that I sent out on email this morning, but I do have a little presentation so we can look through them together now, which I will share. I hope everyone enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed putting that together. Thank you to everyone who put a picture in. I thought they were all just absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to hand over to our first speaker, and then I'll grab that link and put it in the chat. But please do pay attention to Ian's session. Remember, you've got until 1:45 to do your voting. Also, in the MS forms, there's a little thumbnail of each picture, so you can remember which one's which. So it should be easy enough to have a look through them when you take a look at the form. So without further ado, I think that's everything I needed to run through, and I'm going to hand over to Ian Caldine. Is that how I pronounce your surname, Ian?
Ian Caldine.
Caldine, sorry, Ian.
That's okay. Not a problem. Everybody gets it wrong.
Ian Caldine, who's going to do a sort of personal story presentation for us. So I'll hand over to you, Ian.
So good morning, everybody. My name's Ian Caldine. I'm Assistant Finance Director of Group Accounts at University Hospitals of Burton, Derby and Burton. And I'm going to talk to you about spring in my step. I'm going to talk to you about the difference running has made to my life in terms of physical well-being, resilience at work, and my happiness. I'm really going to do it in kind of 3 parts, and it's 4 there. Number 1, can you see the screen okay? Are the slides sharing? Excellent. Okay, so yes. I'm going to talk about my story, but equally, I'm not going to bore you to death. And that what's more important is why not you, and why not now? And then at the end, we'll have a question and answer session. So let's talk about my story, the start. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great, Zig Ziglar. So I'm going to give you a few quotes as we go along. I didn't run at school. I was quite lazy when I played football. I was a centre forward, and I'd never run until they kicked me the ball. My love for running, and I do love running, started in August 2014 with a 10-week couch to 5K course. At the time, I was lead accountant at Nottingham University Hospitals, lead accountant, the technical team, leading a small team. We worked in an office with 12 people, and 5 of them were going to go on a running course. I thought, I don't want to miss out, so I'm going to have a go at this as well. And what I found was I really enjoyed running with other people and buddying up. The difference that running with other people makes such a good thing. The end of the course came Colic Park Run. It was my first park run in October 2014, and I wasn't particularly quick, but I actually completed the course, and I enjoyed being with other people. And one of the things that kind of always gets me about running is how you feel when you're running, and what a massive difference it makes to you. And you can actually see the difference it makes in your physical well-being. 10 years ago, I had a double chin in my 40s. I was a bit overweight, didn't eat the right food. And this was me a couple of weeks ago on holiday with the cows. I thought it's the theme's spring, so and I look so much better and I feel so much better. And that's the difference that running has made to my life. And I'm going to talk to you about goals. And I'm a real big goal setter. An average person with average talents, average education can outstrip the most brilliant genius in our society if that person has clear and focused goals. This is Brian Tracy. And equally, you don't need to do goals. You don't have to make it out yourself. If you want some information, look at Goals by Zig Ziglar, because you've got to have a plan. And I set 4 goals when I got into running, to run at a 5K below 22 minutes 30, and I've done that. I'm not going to talk about all these different things because the more important thing will be for you. But I did want to run a marathon under 4 hours. That was one of the things that I wanted to do. And now my first marathon was in 2017. And I love this quote from Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it was done. So the photo on the left-hand side, that's a few miles in, looking quite happy. And then on the right-hand side, towards the end, absolute agony. absolute agony, but I did it. And I was so pleased with that achievement. So what benefits have I had personally? My physical health has never been better. Resilience, I've had no days off sick in the last 5 years. My mental health is good, as running's my daily therapy. I like to connect out with the outside world. I get a break from work and also non-work. And to me, it's my protected time. When I'm running, nothing else matters. And you get better social connections. So I did achieve my goal of running a marathon under 4 hours. It took me 4 years to do it in 2021 in York. And you can see the smile on my face. I'm happy. And at the end, coming down the hill at the university, charging down and making it, I didn't want anyone to pass me. I wanted to be the best version of myself on that day. The best me, the best I could be. And that's me with one of my running colleagues, Dr. Wayne Summan. Absolutely, really a person that inspires me and amazes me with what he did. So what other benefits do you get from running? If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. Peter Drucker. At NUH, we used to have regular health checks where they looked at your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your weight, your body fat, and your BMI. And I just look back at a few of my statistics because I'm an accountant. I collect statistics. I know it's quite sad, but we like numbers. And one thing I can say is I've improved my health, got lower cholesterol, I've got reduced weight, lower body fat, and I feel fitter. I've got more energy. And sometimes I'm in middle of year end at the minute. We work 12-hour days. We're working weekends. You feel kind of, work can get you down. But because I've got the running, I don't get to that. I kind of always feel energized and optimistic. One of my other goals was to run the London Marathon under 4 hours. I achieved it by a full 2 seconds in October 2022. And you can see my smiley face coming over Tower Bridge, kind of coming down the Mall outside Buckingham Palace. And it was just an amazing experience. If anyone ever gets a chance to do a marathon in London, do it. I raised £2,000 for the British Heart Foundation. Because I want to make a difference, and running is one of the ways that you can make a difference and give back to other people. One of the other benefits that I get out of running is I can combine travel and running. It's better to travel well than to arrive, Buddha said. So my happiest time comes when I'm going abroad and doing races, running around the Sydney Opera House, running around in Rome and Venice. I've been all around the world, and I've run everywhere. My last marathon in Berlin last year, I was injured, but I ran with Dr. Wayne Summan, and still did a really good time. And it was a fantastic weekend. My wives came over for the weekend. We stopped in a 5-star hotel. It was brilliant. Absolutely one of the best things I've ever done. And when we talk about running and inclusivity, Berlin Marathon had 161 nations taking part with over 54,000 runners. Running's for everyone. It's the most inclusive sport that you can do, and it doesn't take much to doesn't cost much to take part. I mean, after all, part runs are free. You can run with your family, you can run with friends, you can run with pets, and you make it social. You can have tea and coffee after part runs and races, and invite friends and family to come along to events. So my part run journey, I've done kind of almost 250 of them. This was last weekend at Long Eaton, where I live. 21 and a half minutes. Really enjoyed it. But I've done part runs all over. I've done 28 different venues. I've run in Australia at 6 different venues. I've run in an island in the Great Barrier Reef, Hamilton Island, going through the sand. It was an amazing experience. Just so blessed and fortunate that I'm able to do that. One thing I told you, I'm a goal setter. You can have results or excuses. You can't have both, Danny Johnson said. So how do I do it? I'm a member of a running club, Long Eaton Running Club, and you get lots of free races and we get lots of fun. I'm nearly up to 250 part runs. I've run 9 marathons, half marathons, 10Ks, loads of other distances. I did get injured last year. I mean, it doesn't always go to plan. So I set a new goal at the end of the year to run 20 minutes a day, every day this year. And up until yesterday, I'm on schedule. So I'm going to hit that goal. And I plan to run all 7 major marathons before I'm 65. Just checking time. And one of the other things that you get when you run, you meet some amazing people. I mean, inspirational people. Ben Smith. Ben Smith, if you don't know, ran 401 marathons in 401 days. And this is me and him at Portishead when he had a running festival. One of my colleagues, Reese, who runs for Alzheimer's disease in his Superman cape. What an amazing person. I mean, these people really do inspire me. But I didn't really want to talk too much about myself. I wanted to talk about, what about you? If you can dream it, you can do it, Walt Disney said. We're now in summer, early mornings, late nights, ideal time to start jogging. Join a Couch to 5K program, buddy up with a partner, join a running club, and run in the gym on a treadmill. There's all these things that you can do. I'm going to give you some more information. I said I would, information on running. There's an NHS app, Couch to 5K. I'm not going to read that out because that's just straight off their website, but there's some amazing benefits for your health from running, as well as kind of the bit that I did like was the mood, the health and well-being, because that's what we're here for, to talk about today. I mean, not everyone knows what a park run is. Park run is a free community event where you can walk, jog, run, volunteer, spectate. They happen every Saturday in the UK at 9 in the morning. So we should get 52 a year. But then we've got Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Sometimes we get 54. There's a junior park run as well on the Sundays. And it's a positive environment. It's welcoming, it's inclusive. There's no time limit. And no one finishes last. Everyone is welcome. So if you've never been to a park run, go and have a look at them because it's free and it's fantastic. You can join a running group. I was very fortunate in Nottingham and in Derby. The health and wellbeing teams both operate Couch to 5Ks and got runners and improvers groups. NUH had runs from both City and QMC hospitals. Derby have one. UHDB have one at Derby Royal Hospital. So check your current employer to see if there are any running groups. The thing that makes the most difference to me is buddying up with somebody. I've got some amazing running friends. I mean, I'm so fortunate. And it makes you yourself accountable. If you're going to tell somebody you're going to do a race, you're more likely to go and do it. And you build some great friendships. And we've had some amazing races, holidays. The one we just had in Berlin last year, it was amazing. You could, if you want, you could join a running club. If you want to get better at running, join a running club. They cater for all abilities and ages. I've already told you I'm a member of Long Eaton Running Club, which is England Athletics affiliated. You get free races and discounts on others. It's great camaraderie, and the fun runs just amazing. I've got one tomorrow night in Denby. Really looking forward to it because it's got hills. You can join running groups on social media. If you're on Facebook, there's Park Run Tourism. A lot of people go around the alphabet and try and run a park run with each letter. Runners love running, the running Bible community, the running community. And there's also loads of various marathon user groups if you're in the Berlin Marathon, the Paris Marathon, the Sydney Marathon. And it's great to kind of connect with people that are doing that. You can subscribe to Runners World magazine. They've got a really good offer on at the moment, 33 pence a month. I think you can afford that one. They have some great information in there. You could become a student of running if you're like me. I listen to a lot of audio books. I wish I'd read more, but I do listen to a lot. My favourite's the Lonely Planet Epic run of the runs of the world because there's some amazing places. You can run up the Great Wall of China. There's just so many places that you can go and do runs. I've gone a bit there about marathons, but a book that really did inspire me was Just Go For It by Dame Kelly Holmes. And if you've not come across Ben Smith, do have a look at his book, The 401. And you can run it if you're a member of a gym. Most gyms have got treadmills. You can run in on a treadmill. You've got the advantage that you never get wet. Most treadmills you can change the elevation, and you can do virtual marathons if they've got the technology in the gyms, and you can actually see yourself going over the bridge in Sydney. It's not for everyone. I prefer to run outside. And that's the end of my presentation, but I just thought I'd pause there if anyone's got any questions.
Thanks, Ian. Wow, that was very inspiring. I can't believe how many marathons you've done.
Well, I've run a few virtual ones as well, nine main ones. And one of my favourite was Jersey, because you're going up a hill for about 5 miles, and I like hills, and you run up the top of the island, then you come down the other side of the Corbière Lighthouse and coming back into the main centre. It's fantastic. And that was my first one. I nearly did under 4 hours, and I was 4 hours. I ran with a 4-hour pacer, and I was 4 hours 13 seconds.
Oh, 13 seconds over.
But I loved it. I really loved it.
Amazing. So I think it was Michael first with his hand up. Michael? Oh, you're on mute, Michael.
Yeah, I'm very similar to you. I started running a couple of years ago, and I totally agree with the benefits that you've obviously gone through in terms of health and well-being. I mean, I think you mentioned running as therapy as something that I've used as well previously on some social media chat. And the other thing I'd say, running makes you feel alive. It definitely makes you feel alive. It's very difficult to describe until you actually done a run, I suppose. My question is how do you keep motivated during the winter when it's like dark, cold, wet, windy?
That's a really good question, and the answer is I just do it. Once you've got a goal and you've got that focus, and you're disciplined. I mean, it takes 21 days, they think, to form a habit. And I kind of started as I got injured, I ran 2 marathons, and last September I did the Richmond Marathon at Kew Gardens, and then 2 weeks later I ran in Berlin. And I really shouldn't have run in Berlin, but when you've paid all that money to go there, you're going to do it. But what because I got injured, I just set a simple goal. You got to start on to run 20 minutes a day, even in the pouring rain and cold freezing, is not difficult. And there was one day when it was really icy, and I was going West Park where I live, and I literally could only do 20 minutes because you couldn't stand up. You literally, it's like I could do more damage than good. But and one time it got to 11:30 at night, and I'd had a busy day at work. And I just said to my wife, Sue, right, I'm off around doing the stalker route, we call it. It's just going down 3 streets where we live, up and down, up and down, up and down, and back at 5 to 12, done. And because I didn't want to lose, I'm making myself accountable. I've taught, that's why if you do it with a buddy, it's better, because if there's more than one of you, the buddy will go, meet up together. And if you do. In life, you can do 20% of things on your own, and 80% has to be in groups. This is Pareto principle at large, and just get the enthusiasm off other people. And once you've got that enthusiasm, you'll keep the discipline. I do, and unless you're injured. If you're injured, then there's genuinely nothing you can do. But so far this year, I've run every day.
Right, that's amazing. I mean, it's always easier to make an excuse, isn't it, when it's cold and
you can have results or excuses. You can't have both.
Exactly. Yeah,
one or the other.
And do you find that once you've got out there and you come back, you just feel great?
I actually get I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take drugs. I'm quite boring as an accountant. I quite like that. But I travel, I go all around the world, and I run some amazing places. And the endorphins that come off when you come back from a run. I feel so much better for the next 2 or 3 hours working once I've had a run. So if I work from home, I might do it first thing, or I might do it at lunchtime. It really depends. I'm not a morning person myself, but I just schedule it in my day and look at my work commitments and make sure that running is my protected time. And I'm only talking 30 minutes.
Thanks, Michael. Charlie, you had your hand up next. Also on mute, Charlie.
Sorry. I said I've got off camera because I'm not looking my best. I don't really want to be on it, but anyway, just wanted to say well done, Ian. And it's nice to find out things about other people, and I like this context. It was really interesting. And I get the same effect going on a walk with my dog or riding my horse. So I won't take you up on the thing of running, but I know what you mean, because
getting outside, you with nature.
Yes.
Get outside and have a break. I say to all my staff, have a break, and once it gets to spring, it's easier to get outside, isn't it? It's more difficult in winter and dark nights, but getting outside is good for you, definitely.
Yeah, and also less of the boring accountant. We're not all boring, Ian.
Oh, I know, it's a stereotype, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I beat myself up unnecessarily.
Yes, you do.
Thanks, Charlie. I used to, quite a long time ago, Charlie, do horse riding myself as well, so I can attest to the fact that is also very hard work and
Yeah,
proper exercise.
I love him, but look at my hand from yesterday, and I totally forgot I was going to put a picture of him in the competition, but I forgot.
Oh no!
I know. I don't know if I can put one in the chat. I'll try now.
I was about to say, send it through anyway. I'll see if you can put it in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
All right, Kate, and then we'll move on to, Kate's presentation, but we'll take Kate's question first.
I was just going to ask you, and I can see a few in the background, but what do you do with your medals and your T-shirts and your achievements?
It's a real tough one. That one on the wall is the London one at the back next to my SEMA certificate, and I was so proud of that because it's something that it is a dream to run the London Marathon, and I go in the ballot every year, and for like 8 years, I never got in. And to actually do the training, which is really difficult, and actually come in where you wanted to. Now, the story of the race was slightly different. I was on for a 3:30, but it was the 2nd of October, and it got really hot. And I didn't run 42 kilometers that day. I ran 44 because every time there was some shade the other side of the road, I was running to it because I'm fair skinned. I don't like the sun, and I got my hat on and got my sunglasses out, trying to keep it off my face. But you still pick it up, and it wilts me a little bit. But I normally sprint at the end like I did at York, and I just jogged over the line at London, and then to see that I'm 2 seconds the other side of 4 hours when I was 13 seconds over in Jersey, it was like, wow, I was so pleased with that.
Thanks, Ian. Quick question for me to finish off then, and then we'll move on. Maybe a couple of questions. So you've done the London Marathon now. Do you think you want to try and do it again, or is that
I'm in the ballot. The results are slightly coming out now, and our charity at Derby has got some places for next year. So I'm kind of thinking I might run for the charity.
Brilliant.
But I want to do
this. All know if you do.
I want to do the 7 majors, which is Chicago, Boston, New York, Japan in Tokyo, and now Sydney's got the 7th star for the Abbott's races. So I've done Berlin and London, and I want to do the other 5. So that's my goal, really.
What an amazing goal. Very last question then. So I think you said you've done 9 marathons. So out of all the marathons you've run, which was the hardest? Which was one where you really had to dig in to get through?
The hardest was Richmond, and that was partly because I did the Great North Run the week before, and I got a PB in Newcastle, and I shouldn't have ran the Richmond Marathon. I should have done probably a half and stopped because there was 2 weeks before. But because I did that, then I really struggled in Berlin. That was hard because it was a sunny day, and you're going down the Thames in a kind of bright sunshine to Hampton Court, and you got the sun on you, and it's kind of you see people that kind of can't do it, and some on the phones ringing up their partners going, I'm never doing it again, and all that, and you just mentally just zone out of those and focus in and go, well, I'm going to finish it, but I'm just not going to be as fast as I normally would be, and just make sure I don't really injure myself. But that was tough. That was a tough one. And equally, you got to Hampton Court thinking you're going to see those beautiful gardens where Henry VIII was, and you come out the gate and come back in the other side, and you only saw 1 minute of it. So I was like, not a selling point for that one. Kew Gardens, where they started, is brilliant because we love gardens, me and my wife. But yeah, it was. You get there, it was a bit of a disappointment, but it was hard. I did it.
Well, it must be almost as motivating to get through the really hard ones as it is to do the ones that you.
I wouldn't quit unless I was injured beyond. You can't. Definitely, you just don't quit. I never stop when these marathons. I see people stopping and walking. I just jog. I slow down, but if you stop, you just inertia sets in, and you've had it.
Well, thanks again, Ian, for sharing that with everyone. You can see that everyone really appreciated it. So yeah, huge thank you. Okay, so now we're going to move over to our next speaker, which is Kate. Kate, I'll let you introduce yourself. So I'll hand over to you.
Hi, everybody. I was just trying to do the magical PowerPoint thing, but I think I just have to do it the boring way. So there will be a little bit of an overlap. Ian and I didn't chat beforehand, but I'm got running in mine as well. So I'm not going to apologise for it. So it's just a lot of running. So right, that come up, but just as you can see the slide, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm Kate. I started in the NHS in 2003 as a national finance trainee for Nottingham. So I've always been very proud of that. And in one way, when I look at my life, I sort of 22 years later, I look at some of my peers, and some of them are like directors of finance and quite senior roles. And I'm not, but I always like to sort of balance that up against all the other things that I've achieved over the last sort of couple of decades. So I just got a little list of them. So I qualified as an accountant, which obviously is always very helpful in our roles. I've worked across a number of different healthcare organisations in Nottinghamshire, both NHS and private, and I've picked up loads of knowledge and experience along the way. I've done lots of roles both in and out of finance. I'm currently not in finance, actually. I'm now supporting the medical director of the hospital as a business manager. I've got married, I've got an amazing husband, I've got an 11-year-old daughter, both of which I'm very proud of. I do a lot of volunteering in girl guiding and parkrun. I do finance business sort of volunteering, but I also just support joining in and sort of young people and help them with sort of positive choices in their lives. I run a lot. I've run the London Marathon, the Great North Run. An annoying person who does go to random park runs up and down the country on a Saturday, just because they begin with a particular letter. I've taken part in the Red Bull Soapbox twice. I've got a large network of family and friends who I love to hang out with, go camping, go to the Peak District, just sit and drink Prosecco in the kitchen, whatever. So lots of different things. So I'm not overly that fussed that I haven't made it to Director of Finance yet. And I'm only 44, so you never know, things might change. But what I wanted to speak to you today was about the Wellbeing Challenge. So I set this up at NUH 5 years ago with all the other sort of finance colleagues. It was at a time when we were doing, it was COVID, so there was lots of working from home and lots of online quizzes and things like that. And this ended up just being another activity that we put forward as part of a wellbeing group within finance, and it went down really well. So the first year we did it, so it's 2021, we had 58 people join in across 17 teams, and we had loads of people from Director of Finance down to sort of payments type sort of staff that were joining in. And then since then, we've changed the format a little bit every year, but you can see the amount of people that sort of join in. It's really popular. We normally start the second or third week of January, and we run it for 4 weeks up to and including sort of February half term. We've changed the format, so you used to have 3 people in a team, now we have 4 people. We try to be quite strict because it just makes it easier with the points scoring in that way if people have the same number of people in their team. They always if people haven't got anyone to join in with, we sometimes buddy them up with someone else, or sort of try to get the teams together. And there are two parts to the challenge. So we have a step challenge element, which starts off sort of relatively easy. So we've got there sort of 3,500 steps. So we ask people to do that every day for 5 days, and then it increases sort of week after week. And in the final week, they can do as many steps as they like. The second part of it is a well-being part. So again, we try to make this accessible to everybody. So not drinking alcohol for a couple of days in January. We like to think it's relatively easy for people to do, but some people do struggle. And we change the challenges around a little bit, but these are good examples of ones that we do. The scoring, also the format of the scoring is so that everybody can sort of achieve the steps and the challenges they're set off. So they sort of if they do the steps, they get 5 points. If they do the wellbeing challenge, they get 5 points. But the extra bit is how we sort of get the staff to work together. So we say if everybody in their team is able to do the steps, then they get bonus points as well. So it tries to encourage people to encourage everyone else in their team, maybe go out for sort of lunchtime or sort of walks and stuff after work. We sometimes even have teams say that they're going to do their deep breathing and mindfulness as part of their team meeting, which obviously is one of the things you've got on the agenda for later. So it's lots of different ways in which the team sort of work together in order to get all the points. We give the challenges out on a Monday morning and they run for 7 days, and then we ask the teams to submit their scores. I don't do like a full-on audit or check-in process. We just sort of ask them what was their scores for the week. We haven't had to have any sort of steward's inquiry or anything like that to date, but we just trust people to get on with it and not sort of check their Stravas or anything like that. We did have 1 year, there was, I think we got in contact with like Virgin, and they were saying about giving us all sort of Fitbit type watches and stuff, so everybody could record everything electronically, but it was going to cost like tens of thousands of pounds. So we've just made do without it in that way. Most people do have an app on their watch or a phone that can do it, but there is a manual converter which we provide. So if people don't have any access to that, they can just sort of work out how much, half an hour of ironing is, they can convert it into steps and stuff in that way. Plus that also works if people are doing things like cycling or swimming and stuff where they might not be able to convert it necessarily into steps from the actual exercise they're doing. So that works really well. We give out prizes every year. So to start with, we had sort of quite elaborate ones, and we asked people to nominate teams and things like that. But now we just ask the senior management team to donate £200, which there's sort of 8 of them. So it's not particularly a lot of much for them, and they're quite happy to do that. And we give out £25 for the first, everyone in the first team, then sort of 15 and a 10 for second and third place. And some people just sort of take it as an Amazon voucher. Other people do sort of, donate it to charity and stuff like that. But that works out as a good incentive for people to get on and do the challenges as well. There's a little bit of banter between the teams. They get quite competitive, some people, and sort of, the team names and stuff, they always come back quite interesting. We normally add an extra bit sort of in week 3 that if they submit a photograph of them all doing it, as you can see here, they get an extra bonus point as well. So again, that obviously helps for things like this and advertising the challenge going forward. We've had a few spin-offs from the challenge as well. We've got a parkrun finance group who quite often go together. There's a picture there of us, a group of us doing the 5:30 run in Nottingham last year as well. That was really, really popular with everybody. We get quite a lot of positive feedback from everyone and how much they enjoy it. They really enjoy doing it in the January, February time of the year as well, because it obviously can be quite a time when people aren't as active. So that's really positive. Like I said at the beginning, I've actually left finance now, but they've already said that I have to come back in January next year in order to do the challenge again, which I think sort of brings me sort of easy on a sort of why do I do it and what's my sort of motivation for running the challenge in that way. So as I've sort of said, exercise is a big part of my life, and I really do enjoy it. And I just sort of want to take you back to sort of January sort of 2023. And it was the new year, and I was talking about New Year's resolutions and what things I could do for the year. And parkrun, as I said, is a big part of my life. So my husband set up one of the Bestwood Village park runs. He was the inaugural run director for that. My daughter, she helps out volunteering at park run. She does junior park run. I go to adult park run, and I have done. I started in 2011, and I thought I did it a lot, but actually it took me 10 years to get to my 50th, which those of you that do park run know that you get sort of milestone T-shirts and stuff at different points. So it did take me 10 years to get my 50th one. But I decided, it was January 2023, and I decided that I wanted to do park run every weekend. So as Ian said, that can be about 50, 54 a year, depending on how many are on. And I sort of said to myself that I knew that I could do it. There might be an odd wedding or something like that, but I should be able to do it. They're all over the country, and I should be fine. So I set myself a goal of doing at least 40 for the year. So I got to sort of March time, and everything was going really well. I'd done 11 weeks. I'd done 11 park runs. I'd done 8 different locations. I'd also volunteered 7 times. Quite early on, sort of scrapped the idea of doing a different location every week, because I think my family weren't that happy with me travelling or coming with me for that far. But I was doing well. I'd done 11 weeks, and it was all going well. But I knew it was obviously an easy time of the year. We didn't have any holidays. There wasn't any sort of hangovers from barbecues or anything like that. So I just gave myself a little pat on the back, and then sort of moved on to the 12th one. And then it happened, really. I won't go into loads of details, but I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was told that I needed to have chemotherapy treatment, surgery, and radiotherapy. And I've sort of said to the clinical nurse specialist, as she was sort of telling me and my husband about what was going to happen over the next year, I said, I can still run though, can't I? And she sort of said, you can do whatever you want to do. I wouldn't recommend taking up smoking or running a marathon. So in my head, I was sort of quickly trying to work that out and thinking, right, I'm still going to do this park run challenge then. I'm not gonna stop now. So I sort of kept it a bit quiet to start with, because I knew quite a lot of my family and friends would probably see that as less than a priority during my treatment. But I also knew of sort of how stubborn I can be. So I thought, yeah, I'm still going to get on and do this in my head. So I ended up having chemotherapy every 3 weeks. So first week I'd feel all right, and then after sort of a couple of days, I would feel quite sort of heavily fatigued for the rest of the week. The second week I had a bit more energy, but my white blood cells were quite low, so I was quite prone to sort of infections and things like that. And then the third week I was normal, but I'd obviously be counting down to another round of sort of poisoning and the mental health mess that sort of went with it and everything in that way. So and then I had other side effects where I might have an upset stomach, food and drink wouldn't taste right. My muscles ached from sort of my head to my toe, and my hair started falling out as well. So overall, the side effects weren't as bad as I think some people could have, and my feet were actually fine, and it was quite comfortable to put my trainers on and go out. So I started to reduce my hours at work, and in the end I was off altogether between sort of May and October time 2023, where I was just doing an odd bits of project work and everything like that. So I didn't do parkrun week 12. I just had the diagnosis. I was going to go to Forest Rec in Nottingham, but it was cancelled last minute, and it was raining. I stayed in my pajamas, I watched a bit of TV, and I decided not to go. But the following week 13, it was actually 1st of April, when I looked back, I decided I wasn't going to be a fool that day, and I got back on it. I then started my chemo. I felt fine on the Saturday, and I walked around Rushcliffe with my husband and my daughter, and I was initially quite disappointed. I came 359th, and I had time of 55 minutes. And I mean, I don't run in the top 10 by any means, but I was a little bit sort of upset that I got such a low position, if you like, in that way. And my husband and my daughter were just like, but you did it, you know, you did it, you've gotten cancer treatment and you just done part of them. And it sort of continued from then. I sometimes walked it, I sometimes ran it, other times I ran it, but I did do it. Sometimes I did it on myself, sometimes I did it with family, friends. I mainly kept local, but I did do a few a bit further afield and stuff like that. Sometimes I stayed for a cup of tea afterwards. Other times I'd just go home and sleep for 2 hours because it had knocked me out on top of all the other treatment and everything that was happening. And I learned to accept that it didn't matter that I didn't get a PB every week or anything like that, that my barcode got scanned and I had done another part run. So I ended up with 8 rounds of chemo. The doctor said I had a complete response, and that the cancer was then unmeasurable, which was obviously amazing news. I still had to go on to have 2 surgeries, 18 blasts of radiotherapy, and then 9 months of follow-up chemotherapy as well. But I was discharged in October 2024, and I continued to sort of exercise throughout. I went back to work in the January 24. I did the Wellbeing challenge again for the department, and they enjoyed that. But I honestly think without Parkrun, the staff Wellbeing challenge, it wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been able to get through the treatment with such a positive sort of attitude in that way. I was ever so grateful to all the hospital staff, the amazing treatment that I had, my family and friends, the cancer centre Maggie's that helped me through it all. But I definitely think that the golden thread was the exercise that I did, throughout the 18 months. And then even since I finished, I ran for Maggie's cancer charity. I did the Robin Hood half marathon last year with them. I went over to Amsterdam at Easter with my family and I completed my Z Park Run, which now means I've done my Alphabet Park Run challenge, which I was really pleased with. And as I look at it now, I've done 169 park runs, 49 locations, and I've volunteered 56 times. So this year I've definitely sort of ticked off all my challenges for that. I love it. And as Ian said, I definitely recommend you take up running. The benefit of it is amazing, whatever your aim is in that way. That was it, really. Oh, sorry, I've got another picture. There we go. It's me on my Z Park run.
Thanks, Kate. Lovely to finish with looking at that set of pictures. A few people are putting in the chat that well done and very inspirational. So yeah, anyone pop your hand up if you've got a comment or a question that you want to say to Kate. But I suppose you've kind of already said that it did, Kate. But the main question that came into my head was, do you think, carrying on with doing that kind of physical activity and exercise actually helped you sort of physically and mentally while you were having to do the treatment?
I definitely think it did. I couldn't, understand that it wouldn't be what all people would want to do in that way, but being able to do that was really good. And even just when I wasn't doing sort of running type things, it was easy for friends to come round and, shall I sit on the sofa and have a cup of tea with you? And I'd be like, well, I'd rather go for a walk around the block actually with you. And having that access to sort of fresh air and being outside, I just think really helped with everything in that way. And I think it really helped my treatment.
And what are your plans now that you've sort of moved out of finance? Are you going to be taking the challenges and implementing them in other teams?
That's a good point, actually. I haven't discussed it with them yet. I think I'm a little bit too new yet to start enforcing my ideas on it in that way. They do have a step challenge across the whole of the hospital now, actually. Not that it was inspired by me or anything, but it's obviously something that's seen as a really good way of getting teams to work together. So that's really nice to see.
Brilliant. Well, hopefully you can see the chat, Kate, because lots of people saying thanks for sharing that story, and that was very amazing to hear. So really appreciate that. So I can't see any hands up, and I am being mindful of the time, so going to move us on to our next presenter. Thank you again, Kate. Really appreciate it. So I have definitely seen her, so I'm pretty sure she's here. We've got next Katrina Milton, who is kindly joining us from Arden and Gem CSU is the health and wellbeing business partner there. Oh, Charlie, sorry, so you got your hand up.
Okay, sorry, I keep forgetting that I'm on mute. Thank you, Kate. I was just wondering if I could be cheeky and use some of your ideas in our ICB for the health and wellbeing targets and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can send over the template sheets and everything that I've got to Becky, and she can share them with everyone if you want.
Thank you so much. And also, you are a very inspirational lady. So well done for your presentation as well.
Yeah, if you're happy to share those, Kate, send them over and I'll circulate them out to the Health Wellbeing Champions. Katrina, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. I'm just pulling the presentation through, just sharing through. So when you can see it on your screen, can you let me know?
I will let you know, yes.
Always that nerve-wracking moment when it's like someone's
tech is always the most fun part.
Cool.
Okay, looks like something's coming up. Yes,
something's
see that,
happening now. Brilliant. Okay, great. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me along to speak about our health and wellbeing offering and how we've implemented it and how we champion it across the organisation. I must say the other presentations have been absolutely incredible and inspiring and really moving. So really lovely to see and be part of it as well. Yeah, I'll just move straight on to our offering. So we're incredibly proud of our Investors in People Platinum accreditation that we've got for We Invest in Wellbeing. So initially we were awarded gold back in 2021, and I have been working as the health and wellbeing business partner for Arden and Gem, shaping the health and wellbeing agenda and the strategy in our health and wellbeing initiatives. And we have progressed to platinum, which was awarded back in May last year. So we are the first NHS organisation to have achieved this, which we're incredibly proud of. It covers these three main areas. So it's leading a culture of wellbeing, improving that culture of wellbeing, and then supporting a culture of wellbeing as well. So it gives you a framework to really look at setting up these wellbeing initiatives, but also being able to support managers, line managers, to be able to support their teams and to support individuals as well. So when we're looking at leading a culture of wellbeing, it's looking at how you're shaping that, how you're owning it, and how you're living those values and beliefs. When you're looking at improving the culture of wellbeing, it's looking at how you're connecting, how you're aligning everything, and how you're engaging people as well. And then when we're looking at supporting a culture of wellbeing, it's looking at measuring, enhancing and sustaining that. So as I said, we're the first NHS organisation to achieve this accreditation. The award was presented after a rigorous assessment. So this really included a leadership context meeting. So we had a presentation of our health and wellbeing strategy, a demonstration of how it was implemented, as well as really showcasing the wide range of tools that are offered to support physical, psychological and social wellbeing. So Investors in People then conducted an all-staff survey, so where the assessor interviewed people across the organisation to really determine how well these our health and wellbeing initiatives have been embedded across the organisation. So as part of that review, we'll share where we were focusing our attention, developing, enhancing and improving the health and wellbeing support. So it's not a tick box exercise. There was a rigorous assessment involved in it, clear framework to work to, and also, uploading an evidence file as well to be able to support the sort of claims that we were making, that we've been able to have that robust health and wellbeing support in place. So starting at the beginning, we're really looking at our health and wellbeing vision. So our vision was to create a supportive environment where staff feel well, healthy and happy at work. So we put employee wellbeing at the heart really of everything we do. So our approach aligns with NHS People Plan, national policy, considering best practices, looking at our benchmark and our delivery against other organisations. And obviously it links to our commitment to our equality, diversity, inclusion. So by ensuring that our health and wellbeing plan is responsible of everyone. So we work really to increase morale and engagement across the workforce through empowering our line managers and using a range of health and wellbeing initiatives to support everyone and to ensure that they feel valued, seen and heard, but also making sure that we're empowering people with the right tools and resources to be able to support their own health, wellbeing and resilience. So in order to get to know, to understand your culture and to support us to continually improve our health and wellbeing offer, we need to look at what our data is telling us. We need to look about what data we already have, but then look at how we can shape some information coming back with some new ways that we can collate some of that information. So whether that's looking at Bitly links, so Bitly links is a free resource that you can sign up to, where you can embed links where you can actually it collates how many people have actually clicked on that link. So you've got a little bit of feedback there and a little bit of data that you can use. So being mindful that how your sort of staff newsletters being accessed, what particular links, maybe blogs and those kind of things that are being clicked on, to be able to see, what people are engaging with and what people aren't engaging with as well. We have got Yammer channels, which we use. So our Yammer channels is like an internal Facebook. So really creating engagement across the organisation and where people can really reach out to other colleagues across the organisation wouldn't normally come into contact with in their daily within their daily roles. So we put different posts out. So some of our Yammer channels we've got, our communities have really grown now. So we've got healthy lifestyle, we've got photography to make us smile. We have our AGM main community, we have how does your garden grow? So there's lots of different things that we are engaging with different people with there. So thinking about our peer-to-peer support groups, so we have AGM social drop-ins, so most over 75% of our workforce work remotely. So really looking at sort of how we can build that and the collaborative working that they're doing. So being able to create more opportunities for those water cooler conversations that would have happened normally if we were going into the offices, how we can look at doing that. So with our social drop-ins, what we did is we created a monthly drop-in session for people to access and talk about something completely different other than work. So what we did was we set up a 12-month plan where we would have 3 different breakout rooms and we would select different topics. So that could be men's health, that could be animals, it could be thinking about running, we had cycling, and we've got lots of different groups. We also have free conversation as well. So what happens is people come into our team meetings just like this one. I'll set the breakout rooms and people can select which room they would like to go into, and they can just have an informal chat with somebody else that's interested in that topic. And these have gone down really well. They've really helped to create that more opportunities for people to talk, but also like a coffee morning in the morning. So just like you would go into the office and you'd make a cup of tea. It's that kind of informal conversations that normal happened. So we'll have obviously our quarterly pulse reviews, we'll have our national surveys, we've got our EAP and occupational health MI data, where we can really sort of spot and trends and themes and be able to look at producing proactive and preventative information and support across the organisation. So you can see here there you really need to look at a range of your data, have a look at what it's telling you, and to be able to look at putting your resources in place. So it's not just reviewing your sickness absence levels and looking at just one area, as being really looking at your qualitative and your quantitative information and pulling it through in lots of different areas. So looking at leading with compassion, empathy and kindness, being able to, you know, build the resilience of our line managers and in turn our team. So empowering line managers to communicate and support their staff effectively. And this is really through a network of training and peer-to-peer support. So really ensuring that they are empowered with the right tools to be able to lead effectively. So, you know, championing the open and honest conversations, making sure that you're creating more space for people to be able to step into, active listening, understanding your team. So it could be looking at ways in you can motivate your team, looking at embedding that team purpose. Obviously we're going through lots of change at the moment, so looking at how we can sort of kind of bring that back and knit together as a team, how we're empowering others and really leading mindfully, so with that compassion, empathy and kindness we talked about. We have lots of different wellbeing workshops that are available for our line managers to support them, but obviously they're available to the wider organisation as well. But some to really point out is a mental health awareness for line managers workshop, how to have effective wellbeing conversations, stress awareness as well, being able to sort of kind of pick up on some of those signs that somebody might be need extra support or just need more check-ins, emotional intelligence. And that we also have dedicated leadership programs as well. So our leadership programs help to improve accountability and engagement amongst teams, help leaders to understand their own impact, maybe like adjust their style to improve inclusivity and enhanced organisational culture. And also introducing a coaching style of leadership in line management as well. So making sure that we are, supporting and empowering rather than sort of kind of dictating and telling. So looking at how we're supporting autonomy within our teams as well, and to make sure they have the right resources in place to signpost to relevant support services that are available within the organisation. So looking at leading with change and being resilient. So as part of preparing and supporting our managers for change, we've done a number of things here. So these aims to really provide our managers with skills and confidence to help them to become more resilient, to deal with change themselves and to support their teams through some of the change process that we're going through. So making sure that the health and wellbeing support is really visible and really clear and easy to access. Looking at supporting learning and development, but looking at how we can support our teams with some of the needs that might be changing, making sure that our workshops are recorded so people can access them. If they can't access them live, they can catch up on them. Looking at how we can incorporate bite-sized learning as well. Looking at our communication and engagement. So not everybody absorbs and interacts with information in the same way. The way that I read something and what I pick out of that announcement will be different to somebody else. So being really conscious that we are putting information out in lots of different ways for people to be able to absorb it. And looking at support, so making sure that we've got those regular one-to-ones which we have, and this is sort of kind of obviously our business as usual, corporate HR team, one-to-one support calls by the wellbeing team, making sure coaching is in place, and access to sort of trade union support as well. So then going into Medigal. So Medigal are our providers for our occupational health service. So they provide a wide range of services from pre-placement questionnaires, occupational health management referrals, supporting HR teams, health and safety, and really looking at how we can make them more visible, but also so we have those resources that are available for line managers, also for staff that might be having an occupational health referral. So that process is not overwhelming or daunting. So looking at how we can raise awareness of work-related issues and lifestyles, so different health conditions, and assisting us in helping to keep everybody safe and well in work and supported. So there's a line manager support helpline where line managers can just reach out to an occupational health advisor to be able to talk about some of the things that they might have an issue with, or how to be able to support somebody, reaching out to them for expert advice with reasonable adjustments, and also musculoskeletal referrals as well. So occupational health are really important, as are EAP. So Health Assured provide our employee assistance programme. So it's free, it's confidential, it's available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and it's there to support your health wellbeing should you need it. There's also the POOR program that runs on the background. So this is an app. So this is accessed via your desktop. It can also be accessed via your phone as well. So the important thing to remember with our EAP is it's a free confidential helpline. It's available 24/7, 365 days a year. But it's also access for your immediate family members to contact as well. So Health Assured define immediate family members of adult children and partners between, so adult children between the ages of 16 and 24, and your partner or your spouse as well. So support is available for there as well. So obviously there's access to structured counselling, and that would look like 6 sessions per person per issue per year. But also there's access to online CBT programs, which are blended therapy. But there's also access with the Wisdom digital platform. And the great thing about that is that we are empowering staff with wellbeing tools and engaging features to really support their health, wellbeing and resilience. So this could be mini health checkers, this could be 4-week plans, and that could be anything from looking at reducing your alcohol intake. It could be looking at increasing your motivation for movement. It could be increasing your sort of healthy lifestyle. And there's lots of webinars, blogs and videos on Health Assured Wisdom platform to be able to support people with those different issues that they might have or challenges they're experiencing at the time. I think some of the things that we can forget about with EAP is there's lots of things that EAP can support with you wouldn't normally think to go to them about. So thinking about things like wills, probate, tenancy agreements, exam pressure, that kind of thing. Health Assured support with menopause support as well. There's a CBT program specifically for that, and also ADHD as well. So somebody that may be receiving a diagnosis later in life, it helps them to really look at how they are experiencing ADHD. It's not a one size fits all, nothing ever is, and it really helps people to, self-reflect on how they're experiencing it and look at being able to put different areas of support in place for them. So The great thing about EAP with ours that we can ask them to come in on a quarterly basis to really connect with staff, and that could be sort of a refresher, but it could also be to be able to align with some different awareness days that we can invite them into our workshops. So EAP is that the names are heard and understood, and people know where they could go to reach out for support. So that really underpins our health and wellbeing model. So our health and wellbeing support is, or our model is built on this 6-point model that you see in front of you. So when we're looking at career wellbeing, so we look at coaching and mentoring opportunities, so online training and development. There's also access to apprenticeships, virtual and in-person inductions. Also, obviously appraisals as well. So looking at that career wellbeing, thinking about what you have in that element to be able to support. And then looking at emotional wellbeing, so looking at your EAP, looking at mental health first aiders, maybe the Mindful Employer Charter. So we've got things like Project Me, Shiny Mind, Health and Wellbeing and Resilience app. So I'll talk about those later as a move through. Physical health, looking at DSE assessments, musculoskeletal support. We've got IOSH 45001, self-risk assessments, physical challenges. I think Kate was talking about one of those. So thinking about we done physical step challenges, obviously Couch 5K. There was Doing Our Bit, which has now been rebranded as well. So there's lots of different things that we can signpost people to be able to support and make them more physical. So remote working, so thinking about our healthy working habits and healthy working practices and making sure we've got that support in place. Psychological wellbeing, so we've got an in-house mental health first aider trainer. We've got online mental health awareness training, wellbeing conversations, mindfulness techniques, advanced relaxation, coaching support, and obviously our NHS wellbeing apps that are available as well. When you think about social wellbeing, so talking about team building exercises, problem solving, quizzes, looking at coffee with directors, Yammer, having those face-to-face away days as well. With financial wellbeing, you might be familiar with Affinity Connect. Now, they offer some financial wellbeing courses. So some of these are called Understanding Your Pension, Planning for Retirement, Partial Retirement. They've just brought out one on redundancy as well. So it really helps people to look at their own financial situation and unpick what that looks like, and then look at supporting them with some resources going forward. The great thing I like about Affinity Connect courses is they do always offer a free no obligation conversation at the end of it, which is available for people to really look at their own situation and give some advice and guidance in that area as well. So looking at champion our health and wellbeing initiatives then. So we have our mental health first aiders, so supporting the psychological and emotional wellbeing of our workforce. So we've developed our mental health strategy, and our aim was to reach an organisational target of 10% of our workforce qualified to deliver mental health first aid. I'm pleased to say that we have managed to achieve that. So with our in-house mental health first aid trainer, so it's trained by Mental Health First Aid England in 2021, we were able to launch our in-house training, and our first courses took place in 2021. Since then, we have grown, so we've reached our organisational target of 10%. We offer our mental health first aiders peer-to-peer support group. So these are conducted every 12 weeks. So it offers a safe space for them to really seek support, to build their confidence. We invite guest speakers along to share their knowledge of lived experiences, and this really helps to deepen the understanding of different mental health conditions. And in between our peer-to-peer support sessions, we have a designated Yammer channel and MS Teams channel, so we can really keep that communication going and share resources. The same with our Wellbeing Champions. We have our own Wellbeing Champion training programme. We have monthly focus groups, dedicated health and wellbeing slot in team meetings, dedicated resources to share so they're not having to recreate any of those things, and a visible presence on our workshops and participate in social drop-in sessions. So, and also we've got our dedicated wellbeing team. We've got our dedicated inbox, one-to-one wellbeing support, monthly health and wellbeing newsletter, which really champions and pulls together all of our resources in one place. We have a health and wellbeing staff intranet page, again pulling that information in one place where people can access healthy lifestyle Yammer, and obviously our surveys, polls and quizzes as well. So some of the things, or some of the activities that we take up on a regular basis is our menopause cafes. These are run every 6 weeks and available to everyone across the organisation. They are there really to hold a safe space for people to be able to come and access peer support, but to be able to access things where people are sharing tips of maybe some symptoms that they've had and some things that they've found really helpful to really sort of alleviate some of their symptoms. And I think what you don't know, you don't know. So these peer support groups are really helpful and supportive into sharing those tips, and it can be a real game changer for some of us. A sunflower challenge. So a sunflower challenge is what you think it would be, and this is like a nice light-hearted one. So people across the organisation come together to see who could grow the tallest sunflower. So I think last year we had 9 foot, which was quite impressive. But we get lots of different people across the organisation. We get grandparents involved, children involved. There's lots of photo sharing on Yammer where people can really sort of, just nurture something else, and it just looks beautiful as they're blossoming and blooming. Project Me. So Project Me is our initiative which is designed to create space to help people to focus on themselves. So we discuss everything and anything from self-care tips to favourite food, favourite music. It's a really great way to reconnect with ourselves. And some of the topics that we've discussed is like wellbeing back to basics, spruce up your sleep. So we've had guided relaxation, self-care, healthy working habits and healthy working practices, 5 ways to wellbeing, financial wellbeing, movement for wellbeing, which is obviously one of the topics that you guys have been talking about today, and really sort of kind of champion the open and honest conversations through sharing lived experiences. These have been really powerful, really inspirational, and we've sort of had them over lunch and learns. We can have them through people sharing their information through or lived experiences through blogs. Some of the ones that we've had has been topics have been around my breast cancer journey, perimenopause and me, my bump in the road was the one, so talking about the importance of keeping those healthy working habits and being accountable for yourself as well. Another one was the road to my ADHD diagnosis. So really thinking about how we can champion some of our resources, but in a different way that can make them more relatable as well. So things like, how do you promote your accessibility tools? How do people know they're there? So not everybody absorbs and interacts in information in different ways. So it might be just clicking that read aloud button in Outlook or in Word. That would help somebody and make a real difference to them. It could be using the Windows and H key, which brings up the dictation function, so you can dictate notes on your PowerPoint presentations, for example, emails, Teams messages, reports, those kind of things. You can have coloured overlays, different mouse pointers. There's lots of different accessibility tools that are available, just making sure that we're championing those in different ways. So some of the wellbeing workshops that we have run or that we do run on a regular basis, so stress awareness, emotional intelligence, resilience, menopause awareness, coaching, healthy working habits, reasonable adjustments. We've got neurodiversity, accessibility tools. Self-care goes down really, really well. It's a really nice workshop. And what we do is we really look at taking the guilt away from self-care and show people how to develop their own self-care toolbox. So making sure that our brains are having time to decompress and relax, and how we do that and what kind of activities we do. So they have a self-care toolbox and look at how they can incorporate and weave in small acts of self-care into their days. And neurodiversity as well. So it's obviously important for line managers, but important for people to recognise that in themselves and look at for different kinds of support options. And that self-reflection really sort of kind of is really powerful, really powerful. And then when you've got that knowledge, what else can you do? How can you support yourself with that? So champion healthy working habits in everything we do. So we run that in Nurture, which is our health and wellbeing newsletter, thinking about how people start and finish their day, what they need to work effectively. Could they benefit from any of those accessibility tools that we've been talking about? You know, people staying hydrated, and how are you championing those message? Is it a quick yammer message that goes out to all staff that just reminds them to stay hydrated, particularly when it's really warm? But it's good for your eye health, it's good for your focus, it's good for your concentration. Looking at things like setting boundaries, you know, making sure people are having a lunch break, being kind to themselves. Sometimes it's just a little message that, you know, just prompts somebody else to think about those things. We can all get quite stuck in projects, can't we, and go to back-to-back meetings. So being able to look at where we can make sure we're showing up for ourselves and being accountable and being quite disciplined in how we work. So this is about taking regular breaks, so making sure that we're stepping away and we're weaving in those small acts of self-care during the day. So making sure that we're eating healthily, nourishing ourselves, so we are supporting our body. You know, often if we have a phone or a laptop, we wouldn't leave the house if we were going to work somewhere else without taking our charger with us. We can see those warning signs within ourselves, knowing that we've got low battery, but actually sometimes we don't, you know, make sure that we're recharging our own batteries and making sure that we're nourishing and supporting ourselves through those regular breaks, stepping back when we need to, weaving in those elements of movement into our day. So whether that's stepping back and going out for a walk for 20 minutes, or whether that is doing another activity that you can do, so mindfulness or meditation, and different kind of relaxation techniques. I'm not sure if you know about Breakthrough. So Breakthrough is a mindful movement app, and it's available through Teams. So it's really quite powerful. So you can set this as a reminder to prompt you at a certain time of the day. So maybe you have a 3 o'clock lull, maybe you could set a little bit of a break around 11 o'clock. So what it helps you to do is just gives you a reminder to move. So we can often get really sat set within our days. We can be hunched over like prawns. So sometimes when we talk about posture, everyone sits up and they roll their shoulders back. But this really helps you to promote movement into your day. So it will literally ask you how you want to feel. So that could be joyful, engaged, it could be confident. And what will happen is a picture of a person or an outline of a person appears in front of you, and they move and you follow their movement. So it's guided movement to be able to break up your day, and it gives you that sense of achievement. It's only like 2 to 3 minutes, but it really does help to break up your day. It helps to make sure that you're scheduling in a movement, but you can also challenge other different team members to do it as well. So you can use it through Teams calls, and you can challenge other people to do it as well. And it's nice at the end of the week that it gives you little prompts to move, but also gives you the overview of how that you have done through the week as well. So it gives you that motivation. I'm going to talk a little bit about self-care. So there's a lot of noise out there in the world. You know, life's big, isn't it? It's loud, it's happening all around us. You know, got family, relationships, work, social media, and actually sometimes the demands we put on ourselves can be really heavy. So just being really mindful that we're incorporating self-care into our days, and making sure that our bodies and minds have that opportunity to decompress, reset, and then look ahead as well. So make sure we're weaving some of those areas in. So looking at some of the ways in which that we communicate or send our messages out. So we have our monthly Nurture Our Health and Wellbeing newsletter. We have our Project Me sessions that run monthly. We have our social drop-in sessions that run monthly as well. We have lots of different health and wellbeing groups, so monthly meetings, their intranet pages, our Yammer groups, all supporting people that they can access this information and pick up these resources. We have lots of different staff network groups as well, with dedicated Yammer pages and intranet pages to support in those different areas. We have our dedicated champions, so it's that mental health first aiders, wellbeing champions, freedom to speak up champions. We've got our learning development opportunities as well. So we have a learning development catalogue that champions all that information and puts it all in one place. So we were talking about Nurture. So this is our monthly health and wellbeing newsletter. So it delivered direct to all staff in the inboxes from internal comms. We use Nurture to communicate our health and wellbeing initiatives. So we have themed articles, and we relate that to our different awareness days, weeks and months that we have. We use our staff blogs to be able to champion some of that lived experience, to be able to deepen understanding those different areas. We've now, I think we're coming up to our 56th edition of Nurture. They've been running since March 21. So we had those on a 2-weekly basis and then moved that to monthly publications as it grew. So we have a dedicated intranet page where staff can look back at back catalogues of Nurture and find some of those resources that are available for them to support them. Also on that intranet page, we have lovely BBC soundscapes running in the background, so it's nice for people to listen to and quite calming. We address lots of different areas. So you'll see on the screen in front of you, there's lots of different like monthly themed nurtures is what we're looking at doing. So men's health, menopause awareness, looking at making connections, self-care, also reasonable adjustments, lots of different areas that we have showcased and raised awareness in those different months as we've sent those resources out. And then our wellbeing champions obviously support us with our mental health first aiders with sharing that information amongst different teams, and we break down nurture to be able to share that information across our Yammer channels. So we're sharing that information in a different way. So being conscious that not everybody will read nurture, not everyone will look at intranet announcements, but there will be different touch points across our teams and different touch points in our day where we can champion that information and still further our reach. So looking at how we can do that. So our Wellbeing Champions every month will come on one of our focus groups, and we'll be able to share and find out from them how things have landed. So how things have landed in their teams, what we can do with that information as well. So if some things haven't landed very well, why was that? What's the feedback around that? What can we look to do to continually improve our different health and wellbeing initiatives? So really, making sure that we're not just sitting saying, actually, we've got platinum, we're happy with that. So making sure that we're continually enhancing and improving our culture and our initiatives and our offering that we've got. And that really brings me to the end of the presentation. So I just really wanted to thank you for listening to our health and wellbeing journey. I hope you've found something of use to take away from today's session, which might help you with some of the initiatives that you are doing and that you are running. Thank you. Thank you so much, Katrina. Wow, there is a huge amount that you do for the CSU and have on offer. It really is amazing. I hope you're happy to send me a copy of your slides, and I'll obviously PDF version and send them out, because I think people would be interested to be able to go back over some of the detail you've got there. Yeah, absolutely. I've got a hand up from Charlie. Sorry, Charlie, we're making you turn your camera on lots of times today.
I know,
I'm
not doing my best today. I was just wondering, how do you get so many people to actually engage with it, with the health and wellbeing stuff? Because I find in my ICB that, it's always the same people who are engaging. They don't really come forward. A lot of people just think, oh God, here we go, it's Charlie again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was just wondering if you had any advice on that, please. Quizzes. Okay. Cool. People love a quiz. They love a music quiz. They love different types of quizzes as well. So what I find is that the way we do it and the way we've done it with setting up Yammer, so we use Teams, the community site, but then the 365 migration happened and we couldn't use that anymore, or we were going to lose that information. So we went on to start using Yammer. And like I said, people absorb information in lots of different ways. So if they see a picture of a dog or an animal and they really like dogs and animals in that different way, they will read what's next to it. Yeah. So quizzes, people love a quiz. And we put those quizzes on our healthy lifestyle channel, so people know to look out for information on there. So different kind of quizzes could be looking at the artist or the music band or the artist, but doing it in emojis. So it makes people really look a little bit more, and then they'll start looking out for those things. So then we'll start sharing blogs on lived experience, and there will be people across the organisation they will connect with, and then we share the resources with that as well. We get people involved with that they're fundraising to share how they're fundraising. But I think for us, we don't do just one thing. We do lots of different areas of it. And I think mixing it up like that really does help to keep people engaged. So we'll have open and honest conversations about mental fitness. We'll share blogs around those different areas as well. Then we'll share our resources in it. And sometimes with Yammer, you don't always have a like or a comment on it like you would expect to. But I might have an email about it. I might have two extra people that morning sign up to a workshop. So sometimes you don't necessarily see it, but you then do see the ripple effects of that.
And I think we're all really busy people, aren't we? So we can't all go on our wellbeing workshops, but we might be able to, read one bit. Or if we see a video for EAP, very short 3-minute health assured email video on the Wisdom app, is really easy to absorb. Whereas reading like a one-pager on our EAP might be more difficult for somebody to absorb, but clicking a video for 2 minutes. And I think it's just making sure you're getting those different touch points. So making sure that your mental health first aiders, your wellbeing champions, your green champions all have the same information. And with the staff networks, all that information is there. So people have it ready to see. And I think having that little bit of competition, especially around, some of those things, works really well. We've done step challenges and activity challenges in the past. Sometimes it's all about the name. It's all about the name of the group. And that kind of competitiveness really does help to get that motivation going. But I think consistency, making sure that you're posting, making sure those communications are consistent but visible in lots of different areas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Katrina. Right, I think I probably am going to move us on, just mindful of time, because I don't see any other hands up. But huge thank you again, Katrina. Like I said, there's so much that you do at the CSU, and I think people are at different stages on this call in terms of how they're kind of trying to get some things implemented in their own teams and their own organizations. But I'm sure there's a lot that they can take away from that. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
So before we move on to the last session of today, I'm just going to jump in and do the announcement of the winner for the photo competition. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to make you guys look at the whole photo slide deck again, and then we'll announce the winner at the end, just because I think it's nice to see the pictures again. So here we go. Congratulations, Sue. I know that you're on the call. I don't know if you want to join and say anything quickly, give us a little bit of explanation of the picture.
Oh, thank you all. I hate to say it, but it's a very proud mummy moment. My son took his girlfriend away on a holiday of a lifetime and proposed, and he's a completely disorganized, unromantic individual, and got down on one knee without her knowing. And I'm so excited about the start of their journey. So thank you for letting me have my moment.
Thanks, Sue. You have won a free ticket to the HFM Annual Conference in December, a day past a Thursday. So I'll pick that up with you outside of the meeting. And yeah, lovely picture and a lovely story behind it. Okay, so can I introduce James, who is going to be running the last session for us today. James, I'm so sorry that we're a bit late starting. I hope that's going to work okay for your diary. James Huxley is a yoga teacher, meditation coach, also a men's work facilitator, and he is going to be doing a sort of desk yoga session for us to try and give you guys a bit of a reset before you go back into your busy work days. James, is that okay? Can I hand over to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want it to run for half an hour, or does it need to end at 5:30?
No, you can run for half an hour. Just to everyone, unless you've got somewhere you desperately need to be at 5:30, please do stay on and stay for James's whole session. I think it would be really nice. Having said that, James, I do have to leave at 5:30 because I've got to go on the school run. Just to say, when you're finished, James, everyone just sign off because I won't be here to say goodbye. So as soon as you're finished, James, we'll just finish the session. But yeah, please do run it for half an hour, and everyone,
Cool.
please do stay on if you can.
Okay. Can I just get in the messages? Can I just get a quick something to see if lots of people need to leave at 5:30? Because if lots of you need to leave, I'll just tailor it slightly differently.
So Julie said need to leave at 2:40 latest. So can everyone just put in the chat what time they need to go? 2:30, 2:30, 2:30. Okay. 2:45, 2:30.
Yeah. So this is why you don't plan stuff. Okay. Fab. That's good. So we'll sort of break the session into two halves, I guess, so that we can sort of give everyone as much as possible. What I'll do then, first of all, just get you to, if you need to have a bit of a shake, stand up, walk around your chair, do that, and then we're all going to come and sit down. And it's great that, hopefully this will work so that everyone gets as much out of this as possible, whether you're here for 15 minutes or 30. And thanks for letting me know.
Thanks, James.
Fabulous. So I'm going to get you to sit comfortably in the chair. I'm in a chair that I can see. Ideally, you want to have both feet flat on the floor so you can take the weight, and then so you can sit back enough to be supported. And then I'm going to get you to close your eyes. And if you've been here for the last almost 2 hours, then you might have taken a lot of information in. So the mind might be racing. It might be on the other end of the scale, and it might be a little bit more sleepy, dreamy. Wherever you are is perfect. But we're going to take a moment to begin with of just being aware of where you're at right now. So there's no judgment here. So you could be the most bored person in the world. Every word that I say is annoying, and that's fine. We want to acknowledge that. And you're aware of what's happening mentally and also physically. So if you've been sat for a while, there might be some stiffness in the body. You might feel really relaxed. Simply finding a judgment-free awareness or exploration of where you're at right now. And you might label it, or you might not. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our awareness to the breath. So if it's comfortable, possible for you to breathe through the nose, start by being aware of where the breath is at. If it's shallow, if it's deep. And very gently, you're going to start to guide the breath a little more deeply so that we're breathing into the belly. So as you breathe through the nose, if you're relaxed, hopefully you'll start to feel the belly expand. And as you exhale, the navel draws back in towards the spine. And you may be able to observe the movement of the body caused by the breath from a place of stillness, or perhaps the mind's more active. The experience there is not important. All that we want to be aware of is that we're breathing as deeply and gently as possible. So you're not forcing anything in a strict way, but simply guiding the breath. And as you breathe like this, you may start to be aware of a different experience. This deeper breath might trigger different sensations in the body. Or you might be aware of how mentally things feel different, or even emotionally. And whether things are changing or whether they're staying the same, the practice is that we keep that lack of judgment. So just being curious. And if you have noticed a shift of experience and it's positive, then it's a reminder that it can be really easy to change our state. And most of us know this already, and it's a reminder that it's good to remember. So I'm going to start to guide you through some seated chair sun salutations. If I can move my chair. So you can keep your eyes closed. I'm more fussed about the feeling of the experience rather than what it looks like. So I'm going to get you to find an upright sitting position, 2 feet on the floor, spine is long, shoulders relax, face relax. So feel the soles of the feet on the floor, feel the sitting bones on the chair, feel the crown of the head in space. Bring the palms together in front of the heart. So really simple movements. We'll start by reaching the fingertips up as you breathe in. We're not rushing, so you can take some time to really feel the stretch. Lift the heart. Maybe squeeze the shoulder blades together, perhaps lift the chin so that you open through the front of the body. So really feel the squeeze through the back of the body, opening across the front of the body. Press down through the sitting bones, take another breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to roll and you're going to come all the way down. So as you come down, tuck the chin, fold forwards between the space in the legs. Allow the shoulders to be soft, the head to be heavy. And where in the first position you were squeezing the shoulder blades together, now you're allowing the shoulder blades to draw apart. Maybe feeling a gentle squeeze in the solar plexus. Turn the head from side to side. And you let gravity find a little extra length in the neck. And with the next breath in, you're going to roll slowly. And you can take a couple of breaths here to come all the way back up. Back to reaching up, heart opening. And then exhale, I'm going to bring the hands together in front of the heart. So you're going to do 3 rounds of this, working with your own breath. You can take it as slowly as you like. And the invitation is to notice what your experience is in the lifted posture, reaching the hands up, and the experience when you're in the forwards fold. And notice if there's a difference in how you breathe, how you feel emotionally. So at your own speed, when you're ready, reaching up. And it's all about the curiosity, the difference between the 2 postures. Do you have a preference over the postures? And being aware to really roll up and down. We want to make sure that we're not feeling any pain in between the movements. So tucking your chin as you're rolling down and coming back up again. And although the idea here is really just to reset after today, noticing your own experience and maybe recognizing that these simple movements have an effect and is something that you can bring into your daily work life. So I can't see anyone, so I'm guessing that we're all about ready to come back to the center. So no rush if you're not there already. Flowing through. And we're going to come to meet back in the center. So we're going to do a twist. So simple, so beneficial. So we're all going to have different chairs. If you've got armrests, these are really helpful here, but if not, don't worry. So I'm going to guide you without armrests, and then if you've got armrests, you can adjust accordingly. So we're going to start by twisting over to the right side. So you're going to take your left hand and bring it to the outside of the right thigh. Ground of feet. And gently press your right thigh out so that it gives you a stronger place to twist from. And then drawing the navel in. So keeping a spine that's long, looking back over the right shoulder. You want to keep the spine long. Keep drawing the navel in, soften the shoulders. Maybe you can extend the right hand back if you've got space. Notice where you can feel that. And then keeping a long spine, you're going to come back to center. 2 hands on the thighs, long spine, navel draws in, and we're going to do the same on the left side. So right hand to the left thigh. Press the sitting bones down, draw the navel in, looking back over the left shoulder. And then if there's space, reaching the left hand back. There's a real beauty of yoga is where you can find the stretch irrelevant of what the posture actually looks like, feeling a gracefulness in it. So you keep a softness around the shoulders, a softness around the face, a softness in the breath. And then with the next inhale, we're going to come back to center. 2 hands on the legs. Coming back to the breath. And although we can get really complicated with yoga, I think, you know, simple stretches, simple twists are the core of it. So whether we're in a chair or not, doesn't matter. So I'm going to get you now, we're going to work with the neck. So hopefully, no, not hopefully, maybe you can feel a different space in the spine, a different experience of the shoulders. Long spine, soft shoulders. We're going to start to turn the head from right to left. And then left to right. And we're starting here because this may already start to bring out some discomfort. We might realize that our shoulders are really tight. But if it feels good to, we're going to start to deepen the movement so that as we come over to the right side, we lower our left ear to the left shoulder. Oof. And then slowly with care coming back to center. And then the same, so looking over the left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. Keep drawing the shoulders down. And then coming back to center. And then from here, you can start to explore your own movement with the neck. So this is usually something that I would end a class with. We were doing yoga as just gentle movements in the neck. Because some of you are going, and because I think it's really important, I wanted to put it in earlier. And giving ourselves time to explore what's going on in our neck, because as most of us will know, we carry a lot of tension in our neck and in our shoulders. Okay, so we're going to come back, going to slowly shorten the movements of the head and the neck. So we're simply drawing some little circles clockwise and then anti-clockwise with our nose. See if you can make the movements as small as possible until all that's happening is the head is still and you're circling your eyes. So you're doing a clockwise circle with the eyes, then an anti-clockwise circle with the eyes. And I want you to draw those circles as big as possible. So seeing if you can look at every corner with your eyes. So the first 15 minutes of this session was the beginners, and now we're going into intermediate. And something that can be really helpful for refreshing us is movements with the eyes. So I'm going to teach you something that you may or may not know, but this can be really helpful if you're stressed or just need just something to sort of break an energy. Is you're going to rub your hands together, get your palms nice and warm, and after circling your eyes like this, you bring your palms over your hands, your eyes, sorry. You can open the eyes. And then release your hands, can be really refreshing. Okay, so from here, we're going to do a little bit more stretching because we've got time, and then we'll come back into some breath work and mindfulness. So we're going to do a side stretch, really simple. And you're going to reach your right arm up. Take your left hand. Let me see my video. Yeah, take your right wrist with your left thumb and forefinger. Keep grounding through the sitting bones, and particularly the right sitting bone as you reach over to the left side. Keep your shoulders relaxed, face relaxed. And it can be easy to twist like that. As much as possible, we want to keep square on. Press down through the right hip bone and feel the distance from the hip to the right index finger, yeah. And then coming back to center, release the hands, maybe twist out the wrists, move the fingers, and then the same on the left side. So press down through the left sitting bone. And you can see how I just adjusted myself slightly to keep myself square. That feels good. So the distance is through the left side of the body. From the left hip bone to the left index finger, all the way through the left shoulder. And then carefully coming back up. Releasing the hands, releasing the shoulders, moving the fingers. So we're going to do something which is really simple on a stationary chair. If you've got a wheeled chair, just be... Sorry, I'm just thinking... I don't want it to be a health and safety issue. Let's do something else. Okay, so we're going to do a core exercise. So I'm just going to tell you what I was going to tell you, because if you've got a static chair, this is great, and it's something that we don't think of but can be really helpful. You're going to bring your hands onto the chair and lift your hips up. But the issue being that if you've got a wheelie chair, the chair could go flying. But what we're going to do is go the other way. We're going to raise our legs. So this can be another really helpful thing if we're kind of stressed. It's like use our quad muscles, get the heartbeat pumping. So really simple. Sitting, so that the sitting bones are nice and even. And you're going to simply raise both legs. You can explore having the legs apart or together. Shoulders soft. Feel your core. Now you can explore pointing or flexing the feet. I obviously can't see what's happening with most of you, so I'm going to assume that none of you are putting their feet down, although it's fine if you are. If you like an extra challenge, you can reach your hands up. And if you want a final challenge, you can do this with your fingers. So open and close your fingers. So we're going to get the heartbeat pumping. Keep lifting the toes high. We're going to stay for 10, 9, 8. Smiling helps if you're feeling the burn, by the way. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release the hands, the feet down. And from here, we're going to come into a breathing practice. So it may be that you can notice the heart's beating a little faster than usual from that. So be aware of how that feels. And after doing that more energetic practice, we're going to use an alternate nostril breathing now to calm things down. And this is something that I use regularly. So we were going to breathe in through the left nostril. So we're going to cover the right nostril. Breathe in through the left. I'll just talk you through it just in case. So breathe in through the left. And we swap fingers, so we cover the left nostril and breathe out through the right. Keeping the fingers as they are, breathe in through the right. And then swapping the fingers, covering the right, breathing out through the left. And that's one round. So we go, and you can do it in your own breath. I'll guide you for 2 rounds if you want to join me. So breathe out through both nostrils. And then cover the right, breathe in through the left. Swap the fingers, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Swap fingers, breathe out through the left. In through the same nostril. Swap the fingers, breathe out through the right. In through the right. Swap fingers and breathe out through the left. And you're going to keep going at your own pace. And the big thing here is not to worry if you get confused. You can simply start again, breathing in through the left. And with any breathing practice that we use to relax us, the key is finding just the right amount of guidance so it's not pressure. You're not forcing yourself to relax, but you're just simply offering the breath a longer space to exhale out of or into. But not so much so that that breath causes tension or stress. And when we breathe like this, we can notice sometimes feeling like lightheaded, sometimes feeling simply relaxed, sometimes feeling really focused, sometimes feeling nothing. So the invitation here is simply to be curious. And we're going to come back to find a regular breath. So if you want to keep a couple more rounds like this, please do. Or alternatively, the next time that you breathe out through the left nostril, we'll signal to you that we're going to let the hands rest in the lap. and becoming curious of how you feel right now. And there's no expectation from me that you should be feeling better. Maybe you do. But can you be curious? Are you able to see how you feel now compared to when we started the session? Are you able to separate your experience physically, mentally, and emotionally? You maybe feel physically tired, mentally quite hazy, but emotionally happy, for example. Or sometimes it's harder to separate. And all we know is that we're sitting on a chair and breathing. And that's perfect. And I'm going to get you now to start to breathe a little more excitedly. So just putting a little bit more spark into the breath. Starting to bring you back into the room, preparing you for whatever the rest of your day has in store. And it's a good time now to make a mental note if anything was particularly beneficial for you. If there's anything you'd like to bring into your daily practice, or your daily day. And hopefully you're feeling refreshed and ready for the rest of the afternoon. So thank you all for staying with me, and for those of you that went and have watched the replay. I guess if you've got any questions, I'm here. Otherwise, thank you.
Thanks, James. That was great, very relaxing. So Becky's had to shoot off and do the school run, but she just asked me to close the session. Thank you all for attending today, and looks forward to seeing you at the next session on the 22nd of July. And she just asked if everyone can fill in the feedback form. That would be really helpful. So thanks, everyone. Have a nice afternoon.
Cool.
Cheers. Thanks, James.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you.